Good afternoon, my peeps. How's everyone today? Welcome for a great afternoon through the Missouri Carnivore Live. It is a beautiful day here in Missouri. It is much less humid, nice outside. It's a great day to enjoy the weather. If I had a way to do this outside, I would be outside doing this live, but I don't have everything set up, but it is great to be here with you all, and hoping that we'll get there's a few people already here, and I want to say hi to at least the ones that are here. Ivy was the first one to come on, says hi everybody, and then Rick said, Mopar Charger says, I see the two crazy ketos are doing the same kind of videos you are. Absolutely. I have not seen that video, but I know for me is carnivore. Most of us here, we do carnivore fairly cheap. Ketovore, carnivore, whatever you're doing, you are doing it. We know it's cheaper. Sometimes we have to do it on a budget regardless because we don't want to be in debt, or we have a limited income and we have to make sure our bills paid. And so for me, it is on a budget, but I've been doing this for 759 days, almost 760, a little over 2 years. And I feel great. And I've been doing it. Now, what I used to do, I eat a lot of steak when I first started. Well, that's impossible now because the rising cost of beef. And so I eat it as a treat, but there's other ways around it. So my today's topic is, and most of y'all probably saw some of y'all ever seen my video come out, is carnivore expensive or cheap? And because a lot of people out there are feeling that carnivore is expensive, they don't want to do it. One is because they think they're seeing these influencers. A lot of the influencers out there, like the bigger influencers, all you see is ribeyes and a lot of steak. Well, yeah, you go buy a ribeye steak, you go buy New York strip, you go buy steak or the strip one, whatever it is, the ribeye roast, whatever you get, whatever that you can pay for, it's going to cost a lot of money. And that, you assume you're going to scare them away because they're going to think it's expensive when they see those prices in the store. Well, the other one is, you see the cost of the upfront cost. Well, and then I feel this is the main reason, as I explained in my video, people don't want to give up their junk food. I know I was there one time. I didn't want to give up my junk food. And when I had enough was enough, I gave up my junk food. Well, also, as going into 2 years ago, I went a lot stricter because I had to do something because keto wasn't working anymore for me. Plus, I wasn't aware of all the toxins, seeds, and stuff like that. If I knew more about that, I would be done. So that's one thing about it is like you can make ways to make carnivore on a budget. You could do carnivore cheap. And for me, like I'll go you can get eggs. You don't even, yes, it's the pasture raised eggs and stuff like that. Better, absolutely, but you can get the regular store-bought eggs. You can get hot dogs. You can get bologna. I get bologna. I just got bologna yesterday at the store, beef bologna. It's great. It tastes really good. I made me I call a heart attack bologna sandwich. The waffles and cheese and the bologna works great. Chicken, pork, stuff like that. Go fishing. Look at your state. Look at your state regulations. If you like to hunt, go hunting. Missouri here, we have small game hunting like rabbit, squirrel. We have, there's a frog season where you can hunt bullfrogs. You have frog legs. Fish, you can go fishing all year round. We have deer season. Matter of fact, within less than 3 weeks away, our bow season start to be opening up. So if Missouri, if you're a bow hunter, you can go bow hunt, turkey or deer. Turkey season's coming up in October. We have abundance of rabbits, squirrel. There's ways around it where you could eat on a carnivore, ketovore, whatever diet. a proper human diet and still burn. You don't have to have the pampered, grass-fed, grass-finished steaks. You don't have to have ribeyes every day. There's ways around. We have many people in this community that does carnivore on a budget. They do it cheap. We know one person, and he shows it. He hunts ducks. He gets ducks for free. He does iguanas. He gets parking lot chicken. He makes a way for the budget because he doesn't want to be debt. He doesn't want to get into debt. And I don't blame him. If you're not in debt, working your means, because that's a great way. And so, like, if you're listening to this first time, you're feeling that carnivore is expensive. I have news for you. It's not. I look at the overall picture. I look at my overall health, from the medical to my waistline to the food. Of course, the food part's going to cost up front, but I'd rather pay for the upfront cost than pay it in my waistline, or I have to pay it through hospital medical. Because if I didn't change the way I ate in 2021 and then made it and went one step further in 2024, I would probably be over 500 pounds. I would be miserable. I would probably lose everything. I would probably live at my mom's house, trying to find a job. And I'd be one of those on the last list, be on my 600-pound life. I may not be, but that's where I would be headed. If I'd have stayed on the American Standard diet with all the junk food, eating all the seed oils, all the duck food that you get at the store and stuff, I would be there. But today it's a lot different. Yeah, I went to Sam's Friday, and I picked up the necessities that I needed. I got hot dogs. I got a couple things for my kids that are not carnivore, but they're not carnivore. But I got that. I got ground beef. I got the beef sausage. I got 4 pounds of bacon. I got eggs. And, my cart wasn't full, but that stuff will last me quite a while. I'll probably have to get some more eggs before I take off with my medical leave that's coming this Friday. But I'm getting ready to start a video series. Probably the first video, I'm going to be editing it tonight and tomorrow after I finish editing a new intro for my Hub in My Life. That the first one is, I bought a shoulder pork butt roast, bone-in butt roast, for $15, 7.5 pounds. It's $1.99 a pound. That's cheap as I found it. And I know many of you out there have found pork and chicken under $1 a pound, 99 cents, 88 cents. It is out there. So there's ways around that you can eat on carnivore very cheap, and I stay on a budget. If, as Dr. Berry says, if it's hot dogs or bologna, it's hot dogs or bologna. It is better than buying Doritos and ramen noodles and Kraft box macaroni and cheese, all that stuff that is, I don't consider it food. I consider it an experiment, a science experiment. It's not food. And you go get that stuff versus, chicken and pork, beef, eggs, cheese, anything dairy. It's affordable. So, I know people in my areas just says, man, I don't know how you can do this carnivore diet because I can't afford it. And the sad thing about it is they see my cart because I don't have very much in it. They see, and then they have this cart full of stuff that I may spend $200. That's $200 every 2 weeks. That's $100 a week I spend on food, and that's including getting some stuff for my daughter. So $250 every 2 weeks. I don't spend, but maybe $500 a month on groceries. Granted, 20 years ago it was a lot cheaper than we have today because of inflation. But versus, I see someone that complains that carnivore, I don't know how I can eat carnivore because it's expensive. You see the cart full of ultra-processed junk food, Doritos, chips, ramen, all the duck food, the snack cakes, bread, all that stuff that is just total garbage. You see them do that, and their bill's even higher. So And so I just don't get what the mentality is on some things. I can understand people are afraid to start it because they see the influencers. Well, if you're one of those that are being influenced because you feel that the influencers are veering you away from it, you got to do what works for you. And for me, I have to do it on a budget, especially in the next 12 weeks. I'm going to be cut 40% of my pay for the next 12 weeks. Granted, I have money saved back away for extra, just in that case, and for the Keto Palooza trip that's coming in October. But you got to do it on a budget. So yeah, as I'm recovering, I'm going to do some video series on, even if I have to go to the store, grab the cheapest carnivore food and bring the video out, and we'll break the total cost of what it costs, and we'll break it down per meal. And that's what I plan on doing, is to show, like, I like that pork shoulder butt roast that's coming out, $15 for the whole thing. I got 5 meals out of that total, maybe 6 for myself. And some of them I made some pulled pork like wraps. So kudos to Rick about his doing his keto and carnivore collide. You got to watch that. Look how he did his reps. It's awesome. It's an inexpensive way. I tried another one where I didn't do the cheese. I used beef gelatin. I have beef gelatin where it's 3 eggs and a tablespoon of beef gelatin. Works just as good. You could go and get the cheapest unflavored gelatin at Walmart for $2.18 for a 4-pack. You only need 1 pack. It's equal to what a tablespoon is. And it is 100% pork collagen. It may not be beef collagen. It's pork collagen. Same thing. No sugar. It's unflavored. It's animal based. That's where gelatin comes from. Does the same thing. So there's ways around this. Well, let me say hi to some other people here that came in. We got Smoothie come in. Thank you, John. This is Amy's neighbor. And Rick says, I am the poorest here. Cheap is survival. Absolutely. Sometimes the way to eat right is a survival. And Rick, I feel Rick is pretty smart. Don't go into debt. You live in your means. And that's what he does, lives in his means. And that's why he says here, duck and iguana is free in this area. That's the way to do it. And Uncle Charlie came in. He says, I think carnivore diet is cheap. I only eat omelet, 8 eggs, 1 pound of bacon, no butter. And Rick says, I eat 4 to 6 pounds of meat daily. And there's one thing that I know Rick does. If you find he does clean outs and there's meat that is good, still good, I do the same thing. If there's a clean out and I see frozen meat that has not been open or nothing, freshly packaged, frozen, good in the freezer, I take it home. It's free. It's like we either going to throw it away or I'm going to take it home. A lot of times because it's not that old, not in the apartments. And Ivy said 50 cents a pound beef sides from the butcher, chop them up and dehydrate. Yum. Well, there you go. There's a bargain right there. And then Rick says fishing and hunting is there is no season on invasives. And Rick says squirrel meat is tasty. I'm not too fond of squirrel, but if it comes down to it and times gets tough, those tree rats, Rick, will be pretty tasty, and I will make sure they're tasty, especially if we have to put it in lard. We'll heart attack them up in that lard. I guarantee you they'll be really tasty. And as Rick says, I live my life without debt. And I wish I was the same way. Hi, Amanda. Glad you stopped by today. Said good afternoon, Kelly. Thomas, Target Prime Rib is here. And Ivy said hello. He said duck food. Hey, that's what it is. If you eat the duck food, you'll walk like a duck. Everyone's saying hi. Rick says a good idea. And Rick says, I get 3 meals out of the pork shoulder. Leslie Ann Carnivore is here. She is from my state. She lives probably about 50, 60 miles away to the south. Welcome, welcome. There's Sharon Steadfast. Welcome here. And then we got Jack Young. Hello from Tennessee. Well, glad you stopped by today. Well, I'm all caught up. I'm going to actually, I'll pin the link, and I was going to have a little open chat, and we'll have a little get together. Let me. All right, I got the link shared. If y'all want to come, anybody want to come in, go right ahead. And then we got another one from XRP Tulsa King. Well, welcome here. I'm glad you stopped by today. Yeah, that's one thing about it is it's like I look the overall. I mean, I'm looking back, even though I'm getting ready to I had to spend total my medical bill for this hip replacement was $3,000, almost $4,000. I'm actually was very grateful that it could have been more, but that's what my cost is. I went ahead and I paid it. I had to pay it. And of course, I already got my game plan, how I'm going to get this. I'm going to do the snowball effect like Dave Ramsey. I really like to get the smallest bill, go. So I'm going to pay it off. Then I'm going to get to the next one. And my goal is to get out of debt. But that's one thing about it. I'm looking at my health. I know 7 years ago, I had habits, chewing. I smoked in the past. I spent money. It nearly wrecked my health. It caused me to have high blood pressure, restrict my blood vessels, cause man issues. At the age of 40, I end up being on blood pressure medicine after I quit chewing. And that was 10 milligrams. At the time, the doctor put me on it because it was a new medicine. It cost me $67 a month for that blood pressure medicine. Granted, when I got to 2021, I went, when I started with Dr. Barry, more keto. I kind of started the ketovore, carnivore, but I ended up going more keto because I thought I needed more balance. Boy, I was wrong on that because my body did not react very good, and I had oxalate built up. That's part of the reason why my hip is damaged is that. Plus, I had a fall probably on ice, and it probably damaged it. Plus, whatever the habit of chewing probably also hindered that. So there was some combinations, but I got down to 5 milligrams of blood pressure medicine. I was seeing the doctor every month, even though she wanted me to smoke because I was on a weight loss medicine. Of course, she left because of the COVID shot because it's her choice. So because she was required, so she left. I've got a new doctor, so he wanted me to see me every 6 months. Well, I went down to 5 milligrams of blood pressure medicine. When I went carnivore, I started changing. I got down to 2.5 as I could have just got off of it. But as of June of this year, I have not been taking it. I've been monitoring my blood pressure. So there's a cost. Also, the reduction of my waist, which I'm getting after I get through this new phase of my carnivore journey, I want to finish up going to get my weight loss journey because once I'm recovered, that's when I have my mobility back. I'll move better. I'll move more freely. And I won't be wanting to sit around. I'll be wanting to get out, go, go, go. So I'm going to finish my weight loss journey. So my favorite clothing brand is Ariat. And I wear they're also, for me, the most durable jean, especially when it comes to work jeans. I get the Ariat rebar. Well, when you are a bigger size, bigger you are, the bigger the waist, the more the materials cost. There's more material and it costs more. When you get up to a certain size, and I was 400 pounds at one time. I wore, a lot of times I was getting that way just 7 years ago, and I was wearing bib overalls. And the bigger the bib overalls, they cost more. The brand I used was the most common one, inexpensive. It's called Keys, Key Denim. They normally are about $35, regularly for the regular size, up to probably 44 waist. If you go up higher than that, it is like almost $50. There's your another cost. You're saving money by clothing. And if you thrift and you like thrift shopping, sometimes the men's clothes is hard to find, but women is a lot of common. Smaller the clothes, you're finding clothes in a thrift store no matter what. Smaller you are, there's more picks you have. The bigger you are, you don't have that many picks, so you have no choice. And so overall, my waistline is down. I don't have to spend extra money on clothes, because if you're on the standard diet, you're going to get bigger, and you're bigger. You're going to get type 2 diabetes. You're going to have heart disease. So you're going to have all that stuff. So being off of that medicine, and then when I had the pre-op appointment, really was a shocking one, where my EKG was normal, and I wasn't taking blood pressure medicine. And when they took my blood pressure, it wasn't like a true resting blood pressure. It was within a few minutes after I sat down, 122/70, no medicine. So I'm having some cost savings. So I feel that is a true blessing when you don't have to have the extra cost. But like, one of my meals that I figured up, and I'm going to make that meal is, it's a wrap. It's more like a burrito wrap, whatever it is. And it's with ground beef. And I'm basing on the price that I bought the eggs for, and the ground beef, as I did yesterday, and the cheese I use, not shredded cheese, but sliced cheese. So I made I call it a cheeseburger wrap. $9. I made 2 wraps, which is 6 eggs. The eggs I get 18 pack was $6.12, and then $6.12. You divide that by 18. That's 34 cents an egg. $2.04 for 6 eggs. I didn't count the beef gelatin, because I already have that. The ground beef was $19, 19 something. It's $6.46 a pound. I used a pound of that ground beef, 85.15. I had a little bit of lard in there, so I added some lard, so a little extra fat. Then the Colby cheese was $3.78 for 24. I think it was around. It wasn't that, I can't remember. It was like $1 something. Let me figure it up. It was 64 cents for 4 slices of that Kobe cheese, plus $2.04 for the eggs, plus $6.46, $9.14 for that meal. I ate that about 3 o'clock yesterday, 2:30, 3 o'clock. I didn't have nothing else. I went to pick up my daughter from the fair. We have the big fair going on. It's over with now, but we had the big fair in our town, the big Higbee's World's Fair. But so I picked her up because she was working with the FFA. Took her she wanted to spend a night with a friend. So I met him in Fayette. Come back. We went to the fair, grabbed. My mother went. We just went to listen to music. Great great music. Listen to a new guy named Alex Miller. He's been out for a little while, but he's more independent. He was on the American Idol. Great show. Great time to listen to music. Got out, enjoy the stars. Got to see the stars. Cool. Fairly cool weather. It was a great time. Enjoyed the fresh air, and I never got hungry. It's $9.14 for that meal. That is pretty cheap. You can't even get that. At McDonald's if you were on the standard diet. So that's pretty awesome. And I will be recording that video. I'm going to redo it, but except for I'm going to go to Walmart in my area because there's a Walmart, common Walmart, or an Aldi in the area. I'm getting everything I need in there. Make that video right, the day before I have it recorded, so that way I can get it out, by a week from today, where I get the Jello, I get the unflavored gelatin, I'll just get the cheapest eggs, I'll get the cheapest ground beef I can get, and do that, or I'll get some boneless pork roast. I will put it in the small crock pot, let it go, and do pork. Make it even cheaper. You could do chicken. There's great ways to take white meat chicken and you do eggs, maybe some pork panko, some little bit of salt or some seasoning. You make you a pizza crust. You can bake in the oven. And then add a little bit of lard, fry it. You add a little bit of that fat to it. Get the cheese with some pepperoni. You can make it inexpensive. Find some fermented tomatoes, or find no added sugar, or don't put no tomato sauce on it, or, do whatever you want. And you can make a healthy pizza that is so filling that you don't have to, that keeps you full all the time, and you feel like you're not being deprived. It's a treat. And so do a pizza. You could do that pizza, a healthy version of a carnivore pizza. I did pork tenderloins. I made pork tenderloins. I have a video out there where I did pork tenderloins and with pork panko. You can go get the cheapest pork rinds. You can crush them up yourself. You don't have to go and buy the can of the pork panko. You could just buy less than $2 a bag. You can go to Aldi and you can get pork rinds. You can crush them up yourself. So there's inexpensive ways. Today I made my waffle recipe. It's 4 eggs, a little bit of pork panko, a little bit, about a teaspoon of baking powder. I added some, I have it already here, some heavy whipping cream powder. You don't have to go buy that. It gets expensive where you have to order it on Amazon. Just get you some heavy whipping cream. So that's cheaper. Just put a little bit of it, gives you that, brings out that waffle chaffle. You can make them as waffles and stuff. If you're on the keto side, you use a keto syrup. Or if you're animal-based of anything, if it doesn't trigger you, add a little bit of honey or maple syrup. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's the way how you live in your means. You don't have to have steak every day. If my choice, and if I could afford it, I would have 2 steaks every day per meal, twice a day, 4 steaks a day. I would, but I can't do that. A lot of us can't do that because some of us has families to feed. Some of us has bills to pay. Some of us has to live in our means. Some of us wants to make sure that we stay debt free. So you don't have to go into debt and eat a healthy lifestyle. I feel just like a lot of you out there, I feel that it is a lot cheaper because we're not eating as much. A lot of us, if you're like me, that you lived on junk food or you ate the standard diet, you would up and you eat breakfast and then you would have a snack. Then you would eat breakfast. Then you get hungry and you snack. Then you have that. And then you would probably after supper, we'd have ice cream or some kind of, a treat there. And it's not just one little bitty old scoop. It is probably a big old bowl. So, and then not mention the people go out. I know one time I used to get it every now and then. I don't get it because I thought it was ridiculous 10 years ago to go to Starbucks and get a fancy coffee. I call it foo-foo coffee, but I thought it, was expensive then. But still, you could buy coffee at home. You can steep it at home. You can get coffee. You can make your own coffee. Why go to Starbucks and get a $7 cup of coffee when you can make coffee for pennies on the dollar? So there's ways around it. And the ones that complain about that the carnivore diet is expensive, not because of the influence or not because of the price of meat, it's because they don't want to give up. They're the ones that complain, oh, it's expensive and all that, but they don't want to give up their old lifestyle. They don't want to give it a try. They love their Starbucks grande foo-foo coffee that's loaded with sugar. They want their duck food. That is just, that makes you waddle like a duck. Causes you to go to type 2 diabetes. Causes you to weight gain. Your metabolism drops. You're not as active and stuff. And a lot of that ultra processed food, they chemicalize it to where you are, feel like you're drugged. And then you want more and more and more. That's the way they did with the tobacco, the cigarette companies, the tobacco companies. They get you hooked on it. Well, the same thing is happening with our food industry. They get hooked on this junk food. I know. I was there. Little Debbie snack cakes, the Nutty Bars, my favorite. I'm just going to have one. Hour later, I have the whole box ate. That's how bad it is. That's how bad sugar addiction is. And some of us were there, some of us weren't. We have reversed it, and we're so grateful that we're there. But I felt like I spent more money. I would spend way more money today with the inflation on a standard diet, because then I want to go out. Not only that, I want to go out to eat. Then I want to go get Taco Bell. I would get McDonald's, and it wasn't just the burger patties. I would be getting that. I get the junk food. The cart would be loaded, and I guarantee you I would spend $100 more. And the other thing is, I wouldn't be here today being accountable for you all, holding each other accountable. I would be here to be held accountable. I wouldn't be here sharing my story. I probably by now, I would probably be a type 2 diabetic. I'd probably be starting on insulin. I would definitely be on different blood pressure medicines. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that I would already have a stent or so in there, be on a statin and all that stuff. I would. But yet, I took my life in the hands. I took the upfront cost, which is the nutrition, and did something about it. A lot of us here today has done that about it. And that's why I'm so grateful for where I'm at. I'm so grateful for you all being here too. And so that we can we can come together as one group. We can come together to say, this is the way to eat. So I want to come back up here to see that we got some more people in here. Jack Young said, it is so convenient to do frozen hamburger patties and chuck roast while not breaking the bank. Absolutely. And Ivy said, free rent down here in my carnivore co-op town. Hey, if you want to join a co-op or a community, whatever you got to do, you work the land. Part of it is work land, help cover the cost, whatever it is. Hey, there you go. There's ways around it. And you can learn to grow your own food. You can raise your own meat. You can hunt your own meat, whatever it is. That is a way. And Leslie asked me, when is my surgery? My surgery is this Friday. August 28th, I have to be at the Columbia Orthopedic Group Surgical Center at 5:30, and they're rolling me in at 7 a.m. And my goal is take, I call it the best darn nap. You know, things are not promised. God's in it. God's got it in his hands. It is, it's in his hands. I trust him 100% that it'll get me through, that it'll be a successful surgery, that he'll be with the hands of the minds of the doctor. I'll have the best darn nap because they're going to lay me on my left side. It's how I sleep. I sleep on my left side. So, and then I will hopefully be home by no later than probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because they're going to have me up, dressed up, and walking before I leave. And I will be walking out that surgical center. I'm not going to want to be wheeled out. If I can do it, if the anesthesia if it's fully wore off, I'm walking out the door. And I am looking forward to the awesome recovery because of the carnivore diet. Because I can see when I cut myself, I can see it, you know, just like the what happened to me 2 weeks ago where I pinched the sciatic nerve. Granted, I have to walk with a cane once in a while because it pinches, but it did take but a week and that was gone. Before that, it took a lot longer than that. I was in, before carnivore, I was in pain. I'd go to work, I would already be lightly inflamed, but time I get done, I had to have 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. That's how much I took a day, sometimes twice a day. This is how successful you heal on carnivore. And being once I fully recover, now my weight loss journey is going to happen because I want to be out there. I want, there's things with this surgery that I am looking for, goals I made for 2027. I am wanting to get out, much as I can, go hike some state parks. I want to bike the Katy Trail. I'm going to start a little bit, get used to it, but I want to go from one end to the other. I want to go from Clinton, Missouri to St. Charles to ride the Katy Trail, camp along the side. I think it'd be great. And if anybody in my local area, when I'm ready to do it, if you're, carnivore, you're wanting to like to do it, more than welcome for y'all to come and join me on this biking adventure. I would love it. More company, barrier. It'd be great. And then the other things I love to do, I love to fish. I hadn't got a chance to fish this year, but I am going to go next year. I am going fishing. One of my other things I'm going to purchase, I'm going to save my money up and I'm going to purchase, is a kayak. I want a kayak. After I saw some YouTube videos of some people that lives in the state that went kayaking down the Jacks Fork River, current rivers down south, I'm like, I want a kayak. It got me where I want to do this. I want to float. I want to take it where I can just go fishing. We have a conservation place down below me where I live, and they have a lake. I would love to go out and just take the kayak and just go fish, enjoy my life. I'm going to enjoy the quality of life after this hip replacement. I enjoy the quality now, but I'm really going to enjoy it because I'm going to be out moving more, and this weight loss journey will be gone. It will really take off because that's the only thing I have left is I want to get a lot leaner. I'm not fat phobic. It doesn't bother me if I have a little bit of fat, a little bit of loose skin. It doesn't bother me. I want to get down to my lean physique. I don't care to exercise. I get my exercise through work, walking out here on my property, whatever needs to get done. There's some projects that has to be done here. And I am going to do some hiking, walking. I did a hiking video last year. I didn't make it all the way. I am going to finish that same hike next year. And so I'm looking forward to 2027. It's going to be the best year, and I'm looking forward to it. See. Jackass, did you measure your waist a while back? How much has it changed? Yes, I have. Matter of fact, I was probably 50, probably in 2024 when I started Carnivore, Jack. I was about 50, 52 inches around my true waist. I was wearing a 44 waist, almost 46 waist pants. I still have the same work shorts that I've been wearing for a couple years because they fit great, even though they're starting to get a little too big on me. I could go down to 42. It depends on the brand. They were getting too small. When I went Carnivore, I was about a 52 inch around the waist. I am now 42 inches. When when I did a reset after I got back from my mission trip, I was probably around 44 inches, and I lost 2 inches since then. So I'm 42 inches. I feel that I probably got about maybe 4 to 6 more inches to go, and I am right where I need to be. My goal is to be, I have 2 pairs of 38 waist jeans. Last time I was in 38 waist jeans, I was in 9th grade. That's the last time I was in a 38 waist. My goal is to get 34 to 36 waist jeans. That's where I want to be at. And so I want to be back into the weight area probably when I was in junior high. That's probably where I want to be, my weight action, because sometimes it depends on our body and our frame and how stocky we are. Some of us are maybe, some of us may be 6'2", but we may have a smaller frame. If I get to 215 to 220 pounds, that's my goal. That's where I'll be happy at. And that's where I'll be in my maintenance mode. Who knows? I may get a lot lower than that, but my goal is to be 34, 36 waist jeans when I'm done. Uncle Charlie said, Thomas, great show yesterday. Of course, I missed the show. I'll have to catch the replay. I'm not going to go there. I'll see. Oh, Isabel's here. Hi, how you doing? Glad you stopped by today. Amanda says to me, that sounds awesome. Rick says, it's kind of funny how we both use Shure mics in our live streams. Yeah, that's the thing. That's paid for. I saved my money up for that. They're not cheap. They're pretty good. They're not cheap. And so I paid for that. But the funny thing about it is I think the goof up, and I got 2 for the price of 1. So I have another one of these Shure mics in my closet. So I have a spare. So, I mean, it's, I love them. They're pretty quality. I just bought the headphones because I've been having problems here lately when I'm on other live streams and noticing that my lights will light up. And sometimes they have to put me on mute. Sometimes I have to put myself on mute. And I kind of figure out my bone induction. I don't know if it's coming out and it's bouncing off the mic, but something caused it. I thought maybe it was my refrigerator, but it's not. Every time it kicked on my little mini fridge, it wasn't doing it. But sure, I'm thinking that my bone induction wireless mics was radioing off and it's bouncing off of me into my mic and it's causing that. So it's ever since I got the headphones, it's a lot different because I was on Mitch's live just a little bit when we doing the Boston meetup, and I didn't see nothing lit up since I got these on. So I feel that something was there, but yeah, I bought that myself. I saved my money up for that, but I got a bargain because they accidentally sent me 2 for the price of 1 because they sent this one. I got this one, and then next thing I know, I got the second one. I'm like, I think they made a mistake, but I don't think they're too big on it. So it's in my closet. So if I ever decide to do podcasts, Carnivore podcast where we come together in the same room, we do a podcast together, I got it. Uncle Charlie said, I don't eat chicken. They rinse the chicken with bleach bath, plus it's not fat enough for me. Well, the thing is, it I you have to be careful. Yes, I know they do that and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not good, but you can go and get good chicken and there's ways that you make it fat. Get some lard, put some lard in there and deep fry that sucker and give it that heart attack deliciousness that you get. Oh, that crispiness. If you get chicken thighs, I would stay away from the breast. The white meat chicken part will be great for like making pacemaker pizza crust, stuff like that. Or if you want to tenderize it and you put a coating on it, make a fried chicken sandwich with panko, and you let it bathe in that lard and give it that heart attack goodness that is so good that you'll want to have that heart attack that you'll never receive. Just ask Rick. He's waiting for his for the last 40 years. And Uncle Charlie said, I'm a beef eater. Uncle Charlie says, most people are thirsty, but they think they are hungry. Just drink water, eat almond, and give digestive system break. That's some of us. Like some of us can do that. Some of us need it. Just I think we do what's best. What works best for us. For me, yeah, I could probably get by with one meal a day. I think it depends on your metabolism, how it works. If you want a weight loss, what you need to do. I think it works great. You know, if almond works great for you, Uncle Charlie, that's probably what's best for you. Sometimes I eat 2 meals a day. Most of the time, I eat 1 meal, and it works best because I want to make sure that I get my protein and fat is the biggest thing. But I also want to make sure that I'm eating less frequency, and it helps me for the weight loss part. But when I go to this recovery, I have to make sure I get my protein. That is very important for healing. Eating 1 meal a day, I'll probably still do that because I'm not going to be as active, except for when I do physical therapy. I get up, of the hour, walk 5 minutes, and because essentially the first week I have to be careful. So my game plan is Thursday. I have not decided. They said stop eating after midnight. I'm going to stop. It says stop eating and drinking after midnight, which I'll probably drink up till before I go to bed. And then that way I'm not as thirsty and may have to wake up in the middle of the night. I get up at 4. I'll be getting up 4 in the morning. Normally I do because my daughter starts school on Tuesday. So I'll be back into my 4 in the morning getting up routine. So I'll probably get up, not have anything, but I haven't decided how I'm going to do Thursday because I am going to be busy. But I think I'm going to start. If I do eat, I want to eat by no later than 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and that's it. I'm done. Or otherwise, I'm not going to eat at all, and I may just fast, and then I'll go through Friday and maybe do a 48-hour fast. But it'll be after I go to bed, it'll be until I wake up, and then I'll just do a water fast. I'll probably just do that. So it just depends for me. But the best thing is you got to do what works best for you. And if that works best for you, great. Sometimes it works best for me. Sometimes I may have to have that little extra. Once I get active and I get into a maintenance routine, it may be different. I may have to have 2 meals a day. Some of us has to eat 3 meals a day, no matter what. And it's because it works best for them. But for me, 1 to 2 meals is for me. So yes, basically you what works best for you. I don't know what that means. And And Jack says, spot on with Carnivore. I don't buy all the snacks, and my wife has stopped all her diabetes meds, spending less on food and meds combined. Absolutely, that's the word. That's how it goes. Okay, I got this. I got what he says. He says this guy, he's talking about himself. He said this guy needs to stay away from sweets. Trigger. What he means is it's like it's trigger. Like I don't have a problem anymore. Time to time, I can have a little bit of honey. Time to time, I can eat a fruit. And I only eat in season. I will not eat out of season. Only in season. Time to time. Doesn't bother me. I have a little bit of allulose monk fruit sweetener with Kiltz's ice cream time to time. And it's time to time. And it doesn't trigger me. But I get what he was saying because down here he says, I'm so glad I'm off the sweet stuff. I still crave them time to time still. Yeah, I don't have that problem at all, but because I can have time to time and it doesn't bother me. Of course, it's probably most likely how I discipline myself. And I'd rather have you, if you sit in front of me, ribeye steaks, 10 pounds of ribeye steaks versus a tub of ice cream or all that junk food, I'll eat the meat first. Even if I was on the standard diet, I go for the meat anyway. I will stuff myself on the meat and then I'll take the rest for leftovers and then I'll throw the junk food away. Hey, Brian, my good friend Brian from Kansas. Welcome. Glad you stopped by today, Brian. Yeah, it's going to be awesome come next year. I forgot to mention this. August 12th to the 15th, 2027, Potato Creek State Park. We are going to be having a meetup there. Return to the Caveman or Return to the Cave. Amy's one that had this idea. She's pushed it. We are working with her to get it started. It'll be at Potato Creek State Park, Indiana. I hope, especially if you're living within that area, close by, within 3 to 4 hours, definitely come on, stop by. The more the merrier. We love to make this the new meat stock, new meat stock of this to the affordable side. Sometimes meat stock, I would love to get the meat stock, but it can be expensive for a ticket. Let's make this happen. I'm looking forward. Brian is looking forward to this. Aaron, Carnivore guy, he's going to be there. Amy, this is going to be a great little mini vacation. You can't even I got a cabin and you can't even get a hotel room for one night for the price I paid for the cabin. So yes, mark your calendars for that. Leslie in the Carnivore said, I kayak the Niagara, Buffalo, Tonka, and Binder Lake. Let's go. Absolutely. I would love to do that with that. It would be awesome. I want to do the kayak. I want to go down the Jacks Fork River. I would love to do the other ones like the Buffalo, the Niagara. There's the Tonka. We have a conservation lake just right down the road called conservation called Rudolph Bennett Wildlife Area. You used to ride horses down through here. People still ride horses. They built a lake. It's a nice little lake to go kayaking and fishing. But absolutely, I would love to even just get together, a group of us in the area, Carnivore, just go kayak. That would be awesome. Camp, kayak. I love it. I'm ready. I am pumped. I'm ready to share this journey for 2027. Everybody saying, hey. And there's Jerry said, sorry, I'm late listening while I'm in the sun. Yeah, if you soak that sun up in the night, the sun was out, but it's kind of cloudy, but it's supposed to be some cooler weather in Missouri. And it's nice. It was nice today. After I'm done with this live, I'll probably go out and at least soak up some more of that good fresh air. I'll get my I got some stuff I got to do before my surgery. One of them is I got an old recliner I need to get out. So I got to back the car up. I'll get the lawn chairs out, get that loaded up, out of here, loaded up so I can get that. I can use that, take that to the trash at work, have my tech help me get the bottom part in. So that's done. I vacuumed my office and dusted it. It needed to be cleaned. I want to vacuum the living room. The kitchen don't look too bad. It just needs a good little bit of a vacuum. But the biggest thing I need to do is clean my bathroom. And I hate cleaning the bathroom, but I'll clean it so that way before I recover. The biggest thing that I want to do big time, and it'll have to happen after I recover, is I want it so, because the majority of this is not really my stuff in there, except for a big pile of two big clothes that I am going to get out before by Thursday. They'll be gone. They'll be out of my room and be gone. But I want to declutter that bedroom of mine when I recover, because I'm tired of looking at it. Especially when you live in a manufactured home, you have to deal with rodents, mice. No matter what, I'm sealing everything I can, but they still sneak in here. Somehow they'll find their way in. But the other night, I had to pull my dresser out to get a cord for the Roku player that fell behind, and I saw this trail of dog food. And I'm like, I'm done. It's time to declutter. The thing is I want to be more. I like to have less as possible, minimalist. I don't mind having some stuff on the wall and stuff hanging, but I'm tired of clutter. I'm tired of the clutter. Some parts of my house is not cluttered. Some parts, you open the door, you just shut the door. And one of the rooms that which my youngest daughter helped, because it's the biggest part of her stuff, we're going to declutter. A lot of this we'll have to go through and get rid of anyway. I want to get rid of stuff. I want to clean stuff up because, and that'll happen after I recover. Once I recover, I'm going to get this house decluttered. That's a great winter project that I'm going to do. So Brian asked Amanda how she was doing. Amanda says, Brian, I'm pretty good today. Thanks for asking. And Brian, I know Brian's doing good. Brian is very blessed. Brian, I got to know Brian through these live streams, through Jerry and Brian. I'm looking forward to being there, my friend, and get to meet you and your wife in person. It's going to be an awesome time. Rick says the heart attack is coming. Absolutely, tomorrow's not promised, and we just have to take it one day at a time. You never know. You might get that heart attack, but you know what? You live a good quality life, and you live a life that you saw fit when you discovered that diet that you wanted to get out of this world. You found out it did totally the opposite, and now it's like, hey, this is the best way to go. I'll wait for that heart attack. We can always say, Rick, I'm having that big heart attack in the sky. Like, what was that show? Fred, what was that show? Red Fox, Sanford and Son. That's what it was. He said, it's the big one, Elizabeth. And Rick says, 3 meals is my way. And that's what I say. Some people got to have 3 meals. It depends. If you eat one large meal, sometimes you may feel miserable and you have to have a smaller, you may have to break it up. And some people have to have that. And Leslie says, I can't eat fruit. It makes me spiral. I don't eat much fruit. It has to be in season. Matter of fact, I don't think I touched a single fruit this year. Not at all. Usually I touch strawberries, but they're in my raised bed. They didn't come on this year, so I didn't eat no strawberries. And usually I will eat watermelon in season, a little bit of it, but I have to go get the ones, and I want the ones with seeds, not the ones without seeds, because those are genetically modified because they're trying to, it's food control is what it is. And as Rick says, I have not spent anything on healthcare in decades. And Rick says, I never need sweets here. Brian says, it's going to be a blast. There's still cabins to rent. Yes, cabins to rent, $100 a night. Let me do something real quick. Actually, I know Amy will probably talk more about it, but I like this. She said, I have an extra kayak. I might have to take that offer up. Definitely for that. I love to do that. I want to do that. Yes, I may take that offer because my goal is to get out and be with more like-minded people. I want to be with my family and my friends, but as I am moving on with my life, I want to be with like-minded people no matter what. And that's my goal is next year. And Ivy says, we have a kayak float from our property here too much to 2 miles down is our property, and more floating is we get more waterways in around our garden islands. And Sharon says, I live in a stick built in town and still get mice. Yeah, all it takes is a quarter of an inch gap. It could be in your door. It could be anywhere, and they'll get in. I mean, we have a stick-built apartment complex, and of course, there's areas they'll still get in. People's like, I don't know how they get it. Well, it's because we got to make sure everything is sealed. They'll find a way to get in. Brian says, I can't wait, my friend. Absolutely, I'm looking for it. And then Ivy says, try moving from a 3,300 square foot house to a 12 by 50 mobile home. Yeah, I have a manufactured home. It's a double wide, and it is 21 by 62. I wish it was a little smaller, but that's okay. You know, I have goals. I have 25 acres of land that I will never sell because there is a future plan for a small homestead. I want to raise my own animals. I have the barn. I have a shop. I have a building. Part of this property, my parents bought in 1984. They did have another piece of property that was part of it. Adjacent to it was a hayfield that when they bought property that was adjacent to that in 1996, they decided to sell it off because they were going to move to Brookville, where my mom was working at the time at a automotive subsidiary plant. They made brake cables there. And so they wanted to get closer. Well, it fell through. And so we kept the 25 acres is what's remaining. My parents deeded me over under 10 acres of land to put a home on. I put this home on 10 years ago, and I'm still here. Of course, my dad has passed away. It's been 7 years since he passed away. So my mom still lives in the main house, but pretty much the property is I have full reign on it. And I think as time goes, I will end up having in case something happens. My mom is actually healthy. She is actually doing a low carb, almost carnivore lifestyle journey. And each day, she wanting to learn. She actually wants to learn how to make the pacemaker pizza. So I'm going to teach her some ways. So, my mom grew up on a farm just southwest of Higbee, Missouri. We live southeast of Higbee, Missouri. We're pretty much straight west of where my mom grew up. She was born and raised just southwest of town on a farm, 13 brothers and sisters. There's 6 of them remain. She's the second to the youngest, and sadly, she is the healthiest. The others, I think two of them is in beginning stages of dementia, losing their mind, and they don't want to change their ways they eat. And they're actually really thin. They're like my grandpa. They were thin. My mom took after her mom, my grandmother. She was a little more stocky, a little more overweight. My aunt, my mom's youngest sister, she's a type 2 diabetic. My uncle, which he's a pretty good sized guy, he had a sound mind, still has a sound mind, but now he's joined his retirement because he wanted to go in the nursing home. Decided that's what he wants, and he doesn't get up and stuff, but he's enjoying that life because he worked on the farm. But I don't know how you would enjoy just sitting in a nursing home. If I had to go into a nursing home, they better let me go outside daily. I want fresh air. I want to enjoy that. I do not want to be in where it's sick all the time. I'm sorry. That's why I rather, when it's my mom's time to go, I want to find her peacefully gone in the home, or get in it. I don't want to see her in a tragic car accident, but I'd rather for her die either tragically or peacefully pass away in her sleep or in her home, or just like what Rick said, have that heart attack. I'd rather for that to happen than be put in a nursing home. And I feel that my mom, since she is changing her life, because I think she's going to have to start getting off her blood pressure medicine, because she knows she's starting to get lightheaded. And she's on 2 different blood pressure medicines, and she had to quit taking one. She kind of spaces it out, but I told her, you need to go see the doctor. Your blood pressure is low because you're eating a proper human diet. You are changing the way you're eating, and you don't need that medicine anymore. You're getting your nutrition. You're reversing your high blood pressure. So I would go talk to him. I wish she would get off the statin, but she may get there. And Rick says, "Hello, Sanford and Son." Absolutely. Say, hold on 1 minute. I got a phone call. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My daughter was trying to find, and she was going to stay till 7 at her friend's house, but they need to go a little early. So uh, I'm gonna, after I'm done, I head out. I'm enjoying this. I'm glad y'all's here. So let's keep on going here. Eric says, "Low, Sanford and Sons." Yeah, that's what I reminds me of when we say heart attack. It reminds me of Fred Sanford saying, "Oh, it's a big one, Elizabeth." And Ivy says, if I do get a watermelon, I plan to get it from the Amish. I live close. They still have seeds. Yeah. I do not eat the seedless ones. That's all you find in the store is the seedless ones. I will not touch them because they're genetically modified. You don't know what the pesticides and stuff. And that's why I will get, it'll be at a local farmer stand. If there's a watermelon, that's what I get. I love watermelon. I don't eat it. I hadn't ate none, but I won't touch the ones in the store. Yuck. And Leslie said, same here. I gotta get a drink of water. Thinking for myself, is this a silent movie episode? Yep, that's guess who I'm talking on the phone, and guess what I am saying. So no, I was on the phone. My daughter, I guess, was trying to get a hold of me because there was original plan to stay certain time till 7. I was going to pick her up, but I had to pick her up early. But that's all arranged. So we have non-silent. Rick says the phone calls. I know how that goes. Yeah, pretty much. I'll ignore it unless it's if I'm on call, which I don't do live when I'm on call. But like the next one's up in the air. I'm probably gonna go ahead and plan how I'm live. It just depends on how I feel. If I feel pretty good, we're gonna have the live. If I'm not up to it, I will just can it and exit out of it. But I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. And guess what? There
must be for you.
Yeah, must be for me. Yep. That's one thing about it is my daughter called and I'm like, I need to take this. Normally I ignore the phone calls unless it's something important.
I don't blame you. I've been trying to put a muffler on my Bobcat, and I keep getting rained out.
Y'all are now getting rain. Our rainy season kind of dried up, which I'm glad it kind of dried up. But y'all need rain down there. Of course, y'all get rain. The humidity goes from 100% to 150%.
We were about 3 weeks without rain, and then yesterday, I tried to work on a Bobcat. It rained. Today, I tried to work on it. It seems like if I want it to rain, I just need to work on my Bobcat.
Yeah, I mowed half of my yard when I got home from church this morning, and then my daughter can mow my mom's side tomorrow when she gets home, or later on when the neighbor's done with the mow. So I got to do Thursday. I'm going to weed eat before I have that hip surgery, so that way when people comes to give me delicious heart attack meals, because that's what I requested, because they wanted to do that because they have a hospitality. And I said one request was, can someone, I said, I'll take if someone can get shoulder pork roast, and if you can get someone I know to smoke it, I would love to have some smoked pulled pork.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. Pork is delicious. The problem is that some of the high-end carnivore influencers, they trash it. But I tell them, hey, if you can't afford ribeye steak, it's better than starving.
Like 2 years ago, I ate ribeye steak once or twice a week. But 2 years ago, the meat prices were a lot cheaper. Now, I treat it as a treat. I bought that strip loin roast. I only ate 2 or 3 steaks from that since I bought it. I'm not eating it. That may be a twice a month treat for me.
I haven't had steak in a couple months since I got all that good stuff from my birthday. After that, I don't even buy ground beef anymore. It's too expensive. It's all pork and chicken and duck and iguana now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing about it. Most of the people in my area, they're like, they'll see me, and I'll be going to Sam's, and I'll have, like, I had a cart. I had 18 packs of the eggs. I had the beef pork or the beef, those sausages that I did a video on. I did all beef hot dogs. Granted, there was a couple things the kids got that there was duck food like mozzarella fried sticks and I call the Dino Nuggets, but they're not carnivore. The rest of it was carnivore, and yeah, it was like, yeah, was it not cheap with the inflation? No, it's not as cheap, but compared to seeing these cart full of duck food and stuff, I'm like, I know they spent way more than I had, and I can eat. And like yesterday, I made 2 wraps, and I did pounded ground beef, $9.14, and that's with sharp cheddar cheese, $9.14, and I was fine. I went to the fair, the big Higbee's World's Fair. That's a joke, but they had good music that night, so listen to music, got fresh air. If I could have been able to take my shoes off, I would have grounded my feet in the ground.
Well, there you go. But the thing is, I tell people, no matter, even if you eat the finest quality meats, it's still cheaper than eating out when you consider the nutrition per pound.
Absolutely. I'm like, that's one thing. I put steak in the freezer. If I want a steak, if I treat myself to a steak, I'll go to Sam's. I'll get my steak, or I'll go to the butcher shop and have it cut where there's full of fat, and I'll treat myself to a steak. It's a lot cheaper. I can get 2 steaks. It'll still be a lot cheaper than going to Texas Roadhouse.
What about your family that's not carnivore? Have they ever had garden at the house?
I know some of my family does do a garden. Some of them don't do a garden anymore. I know my mom grew up. That's what they had. They had a farm. They raised chickens. They raised hogs. They raised cattle. They did corn. They did do small corn crop, but most of it they fed to the hogs, and then they sold some of it. They did wheat, or they did like some kind of slop for the hog. Then they sold the rest. Never had a big grain truck. They always took it through to the MFA, to the pickup bed. My grandpa, when he had the corn, he did cantaloupe and watermelon in the cornfield. They had corn, they had lard, they rendered their own lard. That's my favorite time of the year when they butchered hogs. My uncle was doing cracklings. I'm like, and they're really good afterwards. They have to save to get in there, and because they rendered their own lard. It was delicious.
That's right. Yeah, whenever you make lard, you got all those crackling. I call them, poor man's pork rinds.
Yeah, and that's one thing about it is, it's like I get the pork panko, but if you you could just go to Aldi and get, in my area, I don't know what the price is in Miami, but at Aldi, their plain pork rinds is $1.89 here. You can crush them up. Even Walmart, you get the max at Walmart. You crush them up. It's still cheap.
Yeah, they have one that has no additives either.
Yeah.
Max.
And then I love the Max cracklings. I love those. That it feels like I'm having, instead of French fries, that's what I love to have with my heart attack burger. I can have them, and sometimes I'll dip them in a no added sugar ketchup, and it's or a no sugar added barbecue sauce of my choice, or mustard, or just eat them plain. I love them. They're delicious.
Yeah, I do my own fermented sauce. That's another thing from the garden. I tell people, if you have a non-carnivore family, you should get them off the duck food, get them on the meat, get them on natural fruits and vegetables. At least that's an improvement. If it looks like it came off a plant, I think that's a step up from something that came from a box or a bag.
Exactly. Like I'm taking some of my raised beds out, but most of my other ones, like I use recycled old refrigerators where I cut the refrigerator, make the frame, put it in the ground. I'm keeping them because it's helped holding the dirt, and I'll just put, I'll finish getting the grass seeded around it. I'm keeping those beds. I'm going to grow my own tomatoes. I can go local to a local place here in town. It's called Ritter's Fruits and Vegetables. They sell plants, because it's hard for me to grow. I don't have a greenhouse. I tried it indoors one time and it didn't work, but for the price, I could buy tomato plants and I'll plant them in the ground. I'm keeping those beds because for that. I like, cucumbers. My daughter likes cucumbers. I'm keeping the strawberry bed. Yep. And then I saw a neat way. And then I love sauerkraut. I thought about learning how to grow some cabbage and make my sauerkraut.
The best thing is the thing is the cabbage here is susceptible to insects, so I have to put screening over it to keep out the moths, to keep the caterpillars out. But some of them I let the insects eat it, because when the ducks come and they see the cabbage with holes in it, they get really excited and they start probing and they get all the bugs. They strip the whole thing. I mean, they have a good time.
Yeah, and that's one thing about it. Like, I learned a lot from some of the YouTubes when I did grow, like the tomato hornworm. They love that. And it's that moth, that large moth is what lays the eggs because of the smell of the tomatoes. Well, plant basil with it and boom, you're good. Plant some marigolds. It keeps all the nematodes away. So if you do companion planting, you can stay away from spraying all the glyphosate, the pesticides and stuff, because for me, I live in an area that it's not but 4 miles away, there's crops, corn. We used to have corn and soybeans, but we had a lot of CRP ground, a lot of grass. And now, because of the ethanol in the fuel, the biodiesel, there's more corn and more soy. And Missouri is pushing, I guess they pushed a lot of that in like the last 2 decades. And so we have crop dusting. We have planes that, sprays that stuff, all that glyphosate. So in my water, my drinking water comes from a lake that has tributaries going right to it, right through these croplands. And so, yeah, I don't have the greatest quality of water, but here,
osmosis.
Yeah, that's my goal. Is I'm going to get a reverse osmosis system that can go right underneath an inexpensive. You don't have to get the big expensive. Just get a small one that goes underneath the kitchen sink, or get one that's a little machine. But that's one reason why I don't understand how you keeping your soil intact when you're cropping on a hill that's not meant for plowing.
Yeah. Slope ground should be for grazing, not plowing.
Exactly. And if someone comes here and wants to lease this land, hey, you can get some money, make a lot of money leasing that this is what we want to do. I'm like, go down the road. I'd rather let it grow up in brush before I ever have a plow to this, because you take the grass, kill the grass. It is so hard to get it to grow back. When they leveled this house 10 years ago, I'm still trying to get grass to grow on clay. It's so hard to do. So, but my game plan is next year. I have a neighbor. They have horses. They have a big pile of horse manure. I'm going to say, when you have your chance, just dump it right over there, and I'm going to spread it on that hillside and get my grass to grow.
All you need to do is mix compost in that clay, and everything will grow just fine.
Yep. And that's why I'm just like, I get all that horse manure, and then I have a trash can that I will dump that I did some composting in, that I'm just going to throw that. I'll throw some of my scraps out there, just get that compost going and get my grass to grow in the back.
Mm-hmm. That's it. My yard's mostly rock, but I've been composting for so long. I got giant bananas and mangoes, and everything grows wild here. No fertilizer, no herbicide, no pesticide.
Yeah, around here we have wild mulberries and Bradford pears. They're so invasive. I'm like, I just cut down mulberry trees, which I gotta find it again on the internet, but I got a natural brush killer that I'm going to use to kill those trees because they grow next to the building.
Can't pull them out?
No, what I've cut, they were so large I cut them out, but then they grew again. But I cut some away from the barn today, but I got some more I got to cut away. But yeah, they're so large that they're enrooted. They grew on a stump that I cut a few years ago, and they grew back. I cut them, and then they grew back. So my goal is I've already cut them out today, but I'm going to find my natural brush killer, and it's pretty much it's salt. It's salt, vinegar, dish soap is what it is, and
Muriatic acid.
There we go. I got that at work.
Just pour that on there. It'll dissolve the sprouts and it won't come back.
Yeah, there we go. Because anything is better than glyphosate. I do not. My mom sprays the glyphosate on the weeds, the weed killer. I don't like doing it because I don't want it near, because I gonna have animals and stuff eventually in that barn lot. But that's a good idea. I'll have to get some of that. I can get that because I get it for the pool. You can get it at the hardware store. It's also great for etching concrete.
That's it. I mean, you can use any oxidizer. Some people use bleach, but muriatic acid, it definitely has a more lasting effect because it strips the buds that where the plant grows out. It doesn't break down the wood necessarily, but you could do that with potassium nitrate. They used to sell that as a stump remover.
I think I have some of that, something similar to that stump remover, stump killer. It's a granulate.
Yep. And it basically just breaks the wood down into a fuel source, and then you can light it on fire, or it breaks down bacteria to dissolve it. You got to drill holes in it though, but it works.
Yeah. I remember that because we had to do that with a tree stump on the property I used to work with about 16 years ago. They cut a tree down and we drilled the holes into the stump, and because the stump, and we put that stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too is if you have problems with trees sprouting up along the fence, that's why you need to get a bobcat, because there's actually a tree shear that works like this. You can put on the front of the machine and you can cut this stuff right down to the ground level.
That's my goal. I'm going to find me a good used bobcat someday. Those things come in handy. My nephew, he does dirt work and stuff, and he's got not only to do snow removal, but there's this device that you can buy attachment to the bobcat, and you can go right down a gravel driveway, and it will churn up, work the gravel up, and get all the sod out of the gravel, and you have a freshly gravel driveway without having to put money on it with extra gravel.
It's like a Harley rake.
Yeah, and it works great.
They have brush cutters and everything for them.
I wish I had this attachment there. You can see they have brush hog with the boom where you can have on a tractor. I wish I had one of those where it's like maybe 8 foot tall, where I can go over and go on our fence at work and just go right over that fence and brush hog that brush.
Put one on the front of a bobcat, you lift it up in the air, and then down it goes.
Works great.
Yeah, that's what they use. It's the best way to get rid of bushes and elephant grass and all the nasty stuff.
Yeah, that's one of my goals. I would love to have a bobcat because it will definitely come in handy.
But now I always tell everybody it's the tractor's best friend, because you can do stuff with a bobcat you don't want to do with your tractor. The worst thing you can do is abuse your tractor by taking it in the woods and bumping into stuff, and then you get your radiator poked out, and then you wear out your steering gear trying to load and unload. And if you want your tractor to last a long time, get a bobcat to go with it.
Yeah, my dad had that tractor. You can tell that he went through woods, he went through their trees, because it's a vario cab it's a call it vario cab. It's fiberglass. You can't get that cab anymore. You have to actually custom make it to fix it. One of these days, I was going to fix it up as a classic tractor, because it is a classic. It came from the merged with Alice Chalmers and Deutz merged in the 80s, and I was going to eventually get another tractor, but with the price and stuff, I'm like, I'm getting myself out of this debt. I'd rather just save my money and get me a bobcat, because I can use that bobcat way more than the tractor. The tractor is great with the front end loader, but so is the bobcat.
Well, the problem with the tractor with the front end loader, it's much slower. And then you have to keep turning the wheel, and then your linkage and all that. You put load on it, you're going to wear your tires out. You're going to damage the ball joints and the kingpins and all that. And that's not. Tractor is a puller. I tell everybody, if you're going to pull something, you're going to plow. You're going to pull a wagon. You're going to mow. You want the tractor. But for loading, pulling out trees and all that, you get the skid steer, the Bobcat, whatever. They're tough. If it flips over, you could just tip it right back over. You flip your tractor over, if you survive, I mean, you wreck the thing. You'll destroy it.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, you got to be careful, especially on. I don't have like real. I have some steep hills, but where you have to go down, go up the hill one way, then you have to go straight down. You can't go up. You can't go sideways. You got to go down because otherwise you flip it. There's some areas that I will not put the tractor. We have just to the side of the house. I have a pond. The pond, when it was built in the 70s, the dam is too steep. You can't brush hog. You can't even go down. It's too steep. And plus, they, instead of putting a spillway to the side like it should have when it overfills and it goes out and you don't have to worry about washing out, they put a culvert. Well, that metal culvert rotted. Well, what happened when it rots? It washed out the backside of the dam. So I used to drive the 60 horsepower tractor when I was younger on that. I used to drive the same tractor I have now on it. I won't even drive it on there. I will weed eat it. Like with the Bobcat, I could just go right up on the backside of the hill. Mm-hmm. And then the rest I can just weed eat.
Yeah, the trick with the Bobcat or these skid steer, always keep the heavy weight, uphill so you don't flip over. So if you're carrying a big attachment, you can have that uphill. And if you have no attachment, you have the rear of the machine uphill. And you can turn around in a small spot. Once you get good at it, and if you do flip over, you got a very well protected cage, and it generally doesn't damage a machine. You shut it off, you pull it back over, you let it sit, let all the oil go back to the normal level, and it'll start right up. You treat your tractor like that, it's going to be in the scrap yard in no time.
Yeah, and if not, and you in the 6 foot in the ground if you're not careful.
That's another thing. The tractor cab is not meant for stuff falling on it or flipping over.
Which I wouldn't even have it. We never had a tractor. It just has a top on it. It's open, but I'll never have a track. If I ever get another tractor in the future, it'll be an open cab because I want to be able, if I have to bail off that tractor for some reason, I want to be able to get off that tractor quick as I can.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But yeah, you get one of those skid steer loaders, and between the tractor and that, there's no job you can't do unless you're digging a big hole and then you need an excavator. But most farm work, tractor, skid steer, that's all you need.
Now, this is what I use muriatic acid. Same thing with Amy. You have to bring the pH level back down with muriatic acid.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing about it. You have to be careful when you pour it in the pool because if it splats on you, you'll feel it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It'll get you.
Let's see. Well, got Carnivore Wayne come in and says, "Hey, well, welcome to the show." Everybody's saying hi. And Ivy says, Rick said, I need a backhoe or something to put these swells in the waterways, but I have to win the lottery or something to get one of them. There's no way. Well, I know like Kubota has attachment where you can put a backhoe attachment on your back of your tractor, like a 3-point hitch. I saw that on a Kubota, but sometimes that Bobcat you can, if you certain things you can use it to make those swells. So you got to be careful.
Yep, just don't get stuck.
And maybe one of those cheap ones from Albia. And then thinking for myself said excavations are fun. Years ago, I had an opportunity just to dig holes low just a kid in a candy shop, or should I say carnivore in a butcher shop? Yep. All right. I think I'm going to cut it off here because I'm going to have to go pick up my daughter. It was good. Everybody stopped by. It was good for Rick to swing in. I'm glad he stopped by. Thank you for coming in. We had a great time. Talked about carnivore, if it's expensive or cheap. Most of us here say it is a lot cheaper, and you just have to live in your means. Do not listen to the big influencers. Yes, I am an YouTube influencer, but I do not eat ribeye. I do not eat ribeye. I do not eat steak every day. I cannot afford it. I will go broke. So I have eggs. I have pork, chicken. I do have ground beef, bacon, and one of these days I will try duck. And if times get tough or I get tired of the pesky tree rats barking at me,
squirrel time.
I will have heart attack squirrel. I will learn how to cook it.
Deep fried squirrel or squirrel stew, both good. And
in your area, in many most places, you have fishing license. You have a way to go fishing. Go fishing. That's a way. That's a free meal if you can catch it.
That's right.
So, all right, everybody, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. Y'all have a great day, and hopefully, depends on how I feel next weekend. I will hopefully see you on the next one. I will have it planned, but if not, I will let you all know, and we'll take it off there, and we'll catch you on the 1 to 2 weeks. So, y'all have a great one.
See you.
And